Right now, in this exact moment, while you're focused on this explainer, I want you to become hyper aware of the physical action you are taking. You're staring at a screen. And yeah, the irony that I'm using a screen to tell you about the dangers of screens, that is definitely not lost on me. But honestly, you probably didn't put a ton of deep, conscious thought into the series of actions that brought you here today. You opened an app, you tapped, you scrolled, you clicked. Think about how often you reach for your phone without even making a conscious decision to do it. You wake up, boom, phone. You sit down to eat, phone. You feel slightly bored for, 2 seconds while waiting in line? Your hand just automatically reaches into your pocket. It has become an entirely unconscious habit, literally as automatic as breathing.
And hey, you are absolutely not alone in this. Right now, there are 6.1 billion mobile phone users worldwide. 6.1 billion people who are doing the exact same thing you are, reaching for their devices on autopilot. That's the vast majority of the human population, all of us participating in this massive global behavior pattern. But what are the actual real-world consequences of this shared habit? Well, that's exactly what we're going to unpack today.
So, the crucial point is, we need to shatter the illusion right now that our phones are merely a bad habit or just some harmless distraction. We tend to brush it off, right? We say things like, oh, I just spend a little too much time on social media. But here is the stark reality nobody is telling you clearly enough. Your phone is rewiring your brain. It's damaging your sleep, feeding your anxiety, and shortening your attention span permanently. This isn't a metaphor. This isn't some exaggeration designed to scare you. This is a cold, hard biological and neurological fact. And the scariest part of the whole thing? It's silent. By the time most people actually notice the damage, it is already deeply embedded in their neural pathways.
Okay, let's get into section 1, the terrifying numbers, data behind the screen.
Let's dive right into this. When we move past that subjective feeling of just having a little bit of screen fatigue and actually look at the mathematical reality, the numbers should honestly scare you. We have to understand the sheer volume of our exposure first. For instance, the average person checks their phone 144 times a day. Let that number sink in for a second. 144 times. And just to be clear, we are not talking about 144 meaningful, necessary interactions like answering an urgent call from your boss or a family member. We are talking about 144 compulsive, automatic, almost unconscious reaches for a device. When you break that down, it equates to an automatic reach every 6 to 7 minutes of our waking hours. Every single hour you're awake, your brain is demanding a digital interaction. And the cumulative time? It's staggering. The average American spends 4 hours and 37 minutes on their phone every single day. Now let's walk through the math on this together. That's roughly 32 hours a week. It's about 6 full days every single month. And over the course of a year, that adds up to an unbelievable 70 full days. 70 days of your life every single year gone. Just completely lost to scrolling.
And people know this is a problem. The crisis is completely widespread. Nearly 50% of smartphone users in developed countries admit they feel they use their phones way too much and genuinely want to cut back. More than half, 57% of American adults, say they feel clinically addicted to their devices. But the most tragic reality here is the impact on the next generation. 60% of teenagers already show clinical signs of phone addiction. We are looking at a society-wide dependency.
Which brings us to section 2. Engineered for addiction, not a character flaw.
If you find yourself unable to put your device down, I need you to understand something incredibly important. Let yourself off the hook for a second, because you aren't fighting a lack of willpower. You're fighting a system built by behavioral scientists, psychologists, and massive tech companies specifically designed to keep you hooked. Every notification, every autoplay video, every single feature is calculated, tested, and highly optimized. And they do this by hacking your biology, specifically dopamine. Dopamine is the brain's feel-good chemical. It's the ultimate reward chemical. It's the exact same stuff released when you eat an amazing piece of cake, when you win a competition, or when people take certain drugs. Every single time you pick up your phone, every time you get a notification or see a bright red badge on an app icon, your brain releases a hit of dopamine. The entire interface of your phone is optimized to trigger this biological release continuously. And this brilliantly illustrates the core dynamic at play. Your phone has essentially become a slot machine in your pocket. Just like a casino, these apps are designed so you just keep pulling the lever. You swipe down to refresh your feed, hoping for a reward, hoping for a like, a comment, a new message. It's the unpredictability of the reward that makes it so wildly addictive. You never know what you're going to get, so you just have to keep checking. Let's move on to section 3, your brain on dopamine, neurological impacts.
Now that we've established how the behavior is engineered, we have to look at the consequences. This constant dopamine release doesn't just change your habits, it physically changes your anatomy. Over time, this rapid-fire stimulation literally alters your brain chemistry and structure. Studies actually show that people with smartphone addiction have reduced gray matter in the prefrontal cortex. This is absolutely terrifying. The prefrontal cortex is the part of your brain responsible for decision-making, impulse control, focus, and long-term planning. The part of your brain that makes you a rational, disciplined human being is physically shrinking. Plus, frequent media switching, jumping rapidly between apps, videos, and notifications, it completely destroys your attention span. It trains your brain to expect constant, high-speed stimulation, which makes deep focus almost impossible. Think about the last time you tried to read a book or just sit quietly without reaching for your phone. That weird restlessness you felt? That's not you being lazy. That's your brain, conditioned by your device, struggling with a lack of stimulation.
Section 4. The Sleep Destruction Cycle. Biological Cascade. Let's move to the next major issue and see how this builds. Because as if the cognitive damage wasn't enough, we have to look at the complete disruption of human rest. This device doesn't just hijack your waking hours, it totally destabilizes your body's ability to sleep. Let's walk step by step through how this becomes a massive biological problem. Step 1. Your screen emits a specific spectrum of blue light. Step 2. This blue light hits your eyes and actively suppresses the production of melatonin, which is the exact hormone that tells your body it's time to sleep. Step 3. Because of this hormonal suppression, your brain stays falsely alert when it should be winding down. And finally, Step 4. Your natural circadian rhythm and sleep cycle are deeply disrupted night after night. You're chemically halting your body's ability to rest just by looking at your screen in bed. And the data confirms this biological disruption entirely. A staggering 68% of people with smartphone addiction report sleeping poorly. Over 2/3 of addicted users are not getting the rest they need. Because of this late-night screen exposure, more than 1 in 3 people experience severe daytime fatigue and sleepiness directly caused by their phone habits.
So what happens when you don't sleep properly night after night? Well, the consequences are cascading and absolute. Your memory weakens, your emotional regulation just flat out collapses, making you more anxious and reactive to everything. Your immune system suffers, leaving you way more vulnerable to illness. And your overall ability to learn, retain information, and perform at a high level drops significantly. What we are looking at here is a systemic biological collapse, all triggered by prolonged phone overuse. It's a domino effect that touches literally every single aspect of your health and well-being.
70 lost days a year, a shrinking prefrontal cortex, a shattered attention span, suppressed melatonin, and a chronically exhausted body. All of this destruction, all of this biological rewiring stems from just one device, the very device you are likely holding right now. So the question you really have to ask yourself today is this: are you controlling your phone, or is your phone biologically controlling you?